We can always use more reading journal inspiration, so today we are going to have a flip through of a fully completed annual reading journal. This one comes from Monica of Bibliophile by Night, who has been so very generous to let us have a look through her completed reading journal from 2022. This one lasted from the start of the year all the way to the end, and as you can see, it is now looking very full. It's got all of its little tabs down the side to mark out the different months. I figured this would be a great opportunity to see a different style of reading journal compared to the one that we set up for myself, which is more of a long-term collections type reading journal. Monica likes to do hers on an annual basis. We have a whole bunch of review pages, statistics pages, so let's jump in and have a look. One of the first differences that you can see is that Monica likes to use a square notebook for her reading journal, and on the inside cover here she stuck in a bit of craft paper to make an inside pocket that she can slip things into, and we also have some page math so that she could make sure she had enough space. Super cute writing on the This Book Belongs To for 2022. And then if we flip on over, she stuck the first page down so that then the first spread that you open to is actually a spread. It's not just a single dot grid page. Monica aims to read every day, so we have a little tracker here, or a year in pixels, to show which days she read and how much she read on each day. And then she has a little code here to show the number of pages she read if she was reading kind of like a physical or Kindle version, and then a number of hours if she was doing an audiobook. Of course, you could possibly do both audio and physical book in one day, so each of these boxes is divided in half so she can indicate both if she did a combination. I like the way that she's kept the colors the same for the kind of different amounts of time versus the different amounts of pages, and as you can see, the majority of the time she was reading quite a lot. Along with this, she's put in a little reference for the core pile system, which Monica uses to rate her books, so that's standing for characters, atmosphere, writing style, plot, intrigue, logic, and enjoyment. This system comes from G over at Book Roast. After this, we have the annual book battle or book bracket, where each of the books or top books from each of the months go head to head so that you can see overall what was your top read of the year. So for instance, if we go with September, October, this was Queen of Shadows versus Empire of Storms, and the one that won for that pair up was Empire of Storms. So Empire of Storms goes up against the winner from the November, December bracket, so on and so forth until we get to the top book. I do like the way that she set this up. I think that it is very aesthetically pleasing having all of the little book covers. This system technically gives you your top 3 because after you do each of the month pairs against each other, we then go to another 2 versus 2 for the remaining 6, and then after that the remaining 3 end up going head to head, which then goes to a 2, which then goes to a 1. Flipping on over though, and the next page we have are her plans for her book reads. So it's kind of like goals for the year, but put out as plans for reading. And then some of the books that in particular she wanted to read throughout the year. We do just have to take a moment to just appreciate Monica's handwriting because it's so beautiful and it makes me so angry. And I was trying not to say that, but it does. I think we should start a petition for Monica to make her handwriting a font. I think that would be a good idea. Now, another reason that I wanted to show you Monica's journal is that while I like to use washi tape or doodles to decorate my pages typically, Monica very much likes to use stickers. We do have some links in the description box to some of the shops that she got these stickers at, but flipping over, we have her series tracker or series that she was aiming to finish. Each of the little circles under the series represents one of the reads in that series. And then you can see she has a little key down here. So if she read it, it was yellow. If she read it in 2022, then it was blue. So all of the ones that are already in yellow are ones that are already read. And then if it's a book that she doesn't yet own, it was done in a gray circle rather than black. So for instance, these ones down here, they're part of the series, but she doesn't actually own them. It's good to know that as we go through, some of these things I may not have a full explanation of for you. So if you have any questions for Monica, make sure to drop them in the comments. On the next page, we have her 2022 new releases. So she can specify which months each of these new releases are coming out. In particular, I assume new releases that she's actually interested in getting and reading. For some of them, she's also specified where she may find that book, so that when it's actually released, she knows where to get it. Along with that, she's also penciled in the date, so it's like, yes, this is releasing in May, but when in May is it coming out? Some of these you can see have been postponed, so she has a little migrated arrow for any of the ones that got pushed out. After this one, she has a space for her readathons and book club reads, and you can see they are all color-coded, so if we flip out this little tip-in. You can see the little key that she has here. So different colors for each of the different book clubs. Red for the J&R book club, that is our book club. And then we also have year-long readathons, which are also color-coded too. There are quite a few tip-ins in this video, and we'll make sure that we flip them out and have a look at them because they're all very cute. We love a good tip-in. So flipping on over, this one here is our books read or books bought shelves. So read, purchased. Each of these have a little key as well. So this one here, yellow for 5-star reads, whereas grey is a DNF or a quite low rating. On this side though, we have yellow for any books that were read. So these are the ones that were purchased, and you can see little labels there for when they were purchased, which I think is pretty cool. But the ones that get colored in with yellow are actually the ones that got read. I think it's a really smart idea that she has the little labels to say when each of these were read versus bought. And again, I'm just going to take a second to appreciate her handwriting because look at it, it's so cute. You can already see from this that Monica reads much more than I do, because if I was to do a shelf for just 1 year, it'd have like 20 books on it. Then we're getting into the monthly pages though. So this is January, obviously, because it says January on it. As we flip through, you'll see that the pages that Monica likes to set up each month are fairly similar. So she has kind of a set or collection of pages that she likes to have for each month in this journal. Starting with the first one though, we have a calendar and a TBR, and each of these books are numbered so she can specify on her little calendar when she was reading what, which I think is pretty cool. So for instance, book 3, The Lost Apothecary, she started that on the 1st and then read it through until the 4th, it seems. For book number 8, which is Once and Future Volume 1, she started that on the 3rd, where the circle is, and read that through and finished it on the 5th. I think it's quite a cool system because you've just got the numbers there to represent the books. You could do something similar with color coding, but then you have to introduce a whole bunch of colors onto your calendar. And if you read as much as she does, that's quite a few colors, which would make this look very busy. I think that this system is actually really nice. Number 6 you can see, where she said that she soft DNF'd it. That one started on the 18th and then went through to the 21st, but rather than having an arrowhead, she's got a little cross, which I assume means that she finished it without actually finishing it. We have a little picture from her Instagram, which has her reads for the month, a nice little list of any additional reads that she was doing, and then we have a little flip out here for the Explorathon. So this one has a bunch of little prompts on it, and then she specified what the read was underneath the prompt, and then has crossed them off as she's read them. I super love her use of tip-ins in her journal. I think it's very cute. But flipping over, and then we're getting into her reviews. So for each of the reviews that Monica does, she likes to have a picture of the book cover. She specifies what number the read was in the year, the dates that she was reading it, so started and finished, her core pile system, so like we said before, like characters, atmosphere, writing, etc. And then her average for those ratings. She then has her overall rating, which is done out of 5. That one's based on the conversion that she has in the front cover, which makes sense as to why it's in the front cover so that it is nice and accessible. So if her average ends up with a 7 to 8.9, it's a 4-star read. This one having an average of 6.71, we can flip back and say 6.71 would put that in the 3-star category. So a 4.6 to a 6.9, which is why she's given it 3 stars here. Along with that, we have some other notes about her review. So the title of the book, if it's part of a series, who the author was, what format she read it in, how many pages or hours was the book in terms of its length, and then a couple of notes about her review. The annoying part about this is that her handwriting, when she does the kind of like thin all caps, so gorgeous. And then her handwriting when she does it with this kind of fountain pen style, also so gorgeous. I have problems with cute aggression, and her handwriting is very much in that category for me. But as you can see, we have 2 reviews per page here, so 4 total for the spread, and she's done a review for each of the books that she's read in the month. She's changed up the positioning of where those have been stuck in, which is a very good idea because as we saw, this journal is quite thick. She does like to stick a lot of stuff in, whether that be stickers or things that she's printed off. And if you stick them all in the same place, you're going to end up with one side of your notebook being very, very thick and the other side being a lot thinner. So having a kind of balance of ones at the top and the bottom makes a lot of sense. At the end of the month though, she has her summary, or kind of like reading wrap up, where she lists out what books did she read, here's the picture of the books that she's read, and then some statistics. I love the statistics pages that Monica does. I'm a big fan of statistics and just like little graphs and things like that. So in terms of the stats that she has recorded, she has her favorite and least favorite books, which is based on those core pile ratings. We have stats related to the pages that she read, how many hours did she listen to, which readathons did she partake in, which readathon and book club books did she have, and I assume that's how many were there and how many books did she read from it, and she also has how many read-alongs. For the little graphs, we have the rating breakdown, so 2 5-star reads, 2 3-star reads, and 8 4-star reads. She has the different types that she's keeping track of, so comics, collections, graphic novels, novellas, manga, and short stories. What format she read in, so audio versus ebook versus graphic novel versus mixed media versus physical. And then the age breakdown, or kind of like target audience, so adult, children's, middle grade, new adult, and young adult. All of these calculations I know she does via a spreadsheet that she keeps for her reads, rather than going through and like having to calculate it all herself. But I think that the little graphs are really cute, and we didn't even talk about the header style. This is a great lettering style. It looks gorgeous. Absolutely love it. So that's her read statistics, but then we also have bought statistics. So listing out her purchases, a little picture from her Instagram, the one she bought first and last, and then some little statistics about where they were purchased from, how many library books did she have, what types of books was she purchasing, did she unhaul any books, and then just the general statistics of number of books bought, cost, books read. Flipping over though and getting into February, so new month, new theme. While January was a lot more kind of summery beach theme, which kind of makes sense because in New Zealand, January is in summer. For February, she's gone with a crystals theme. You can see we have a very similar format to what we had in January. So the list of books to read and when they were read, the little picture to show what books were read in the month, and any additional reads that she had, including book club reads and read-alongs and such. And then the little flip out that she has here is for Fantasy Romance February. Underneath this tip in there are just a bunch of little prompts, and some of them have been X'd off to say that she did read in that category. After the monthly spread though, we are into those reviews, so taking the same format that we had in January, with her beautiful writing, which I love too much. I would like to read this book. Anywho, flipping on over, I'm trying not to read too closely at her different ratings and reviews because I don't want to be spoiled, but here we are into her review or wrap-up page. So we have the read and the bought, similar sections, slightly different layout. So in both of them we have the ones she read, the ones she purchased. We have her favorite versus her first bought, and her least favorite versus her last bought, and then the statistics for both of those. We have the little pictures from her Instagram, so again, these ones are the ones she actually read, and these ones are the ones she purchased. I love the little graphs. I think that the decoration, it's quite minimal, but it's quite pretty, you know? I say minimal in the fact that we still have white space on the page. Sometimes I think I'm allergic to white space, but I think that she's done a good job to make it feel balanced, especially with like the little crystals in either corner. The little headers are very pretty, and then the little crystal pieces around the outside. I like how she's used the crystals over here to mark in the different sections as well. So it's like the library section, crystal. The places purchased from, crystal. It's also so impressive to me that in this month she read 12 reads, and that would be like my goal for the entire year. So yeah, this is why we're having a look at her one, because she reads a lot more than me. Her reading style and also just her journaling style is very different to mine. That's the nice part about having a look at somebody else's journal. Because her needs are different to mine, because she reads so much more than me, the layouts that she's going to use for that are going to be a little bit different. For March, we have a kind of watercolor-esque theme with a green, blue, purple color palette, which is very pretty. We don't have a tip-in on this monthly page, but we do again have her calendar for when things were getting read, her list of books that she wanted to read, some notes about some readathons that she was doing, and then other reads that she was getting into as well. And then after this, we have her reviews. Deal with the Elf King was a book club read, so I have read that one. That one is safe. Poor little 1-star read. But again, I'm trying not to read any of the reviews too closely. If there are any books that you have read and you're like, want to go see what Monica rated them, then feel free to pause and have a snoop. Just know that all book opinions are valid here, and it's okay if you agree, and it's okay if you didn't. So for this one, because of the number of books she read in the month, her last review is here, but then she would have had 3/4 of the spread just left empty. So she has tucked her books bought and her March reads onto this spread as well. This means a slight change up in the sections, but most of them are fairly similar. We have her things that she bought and got from the library. We have her March reads, so listing out all of the things she read and the statistics for those. So we have a good chunk of books that were in the 4-star and 3-star category, one that was a DNF, and 2 that were in the 2-star category. Most of her books were ebooks, most of her books were novellas, and most of her books were in the adult category in terms of like age range that they're pitched at. Again, like she read 22 books in this month. I will probably read 22 books in this entire year. But flipping over to have a look at April. So the theme for April is kind of book theme, and because we didn't have any flip outs in March, we get 2 flip outs in April, which is very exciting. So for this one, she specified 14 books to read, and she's marked them off on her little calendar. And then the first flip out we have here, which is so cute with the little stacks of books. This is an extension of the list that she had here, I assume. So she probably ran out of space on this one to list in all of these different reads, and she's put them over here. The flip out on this page explains the extra information that we have for each of the book titles and how those totals are actually calculated in terms of increasing points and decreasing points. I assume that the point totals in particular are for possibly the realm of the readathon, and then the Aurelium stuff is the stuff here, where you have different prompts based on the courses you're taking, and the courses you take depends on which kind of realm of study you're doing. I am explaining this poorly, but this one is also hosted by G of Book Roast, and there's a link in the description to her channel. Flipping over though, we are into because there is a heap of information on this spread, when we flip over, we actually have a little panel here about some other reads that she was doing for her book clubs, and then we get into doing the reviews. Lore Olympus, which was for our book club, and we've got this Marvel comic thing, which is very cool. And we've got Crown of Midnight, which I'm not allowed to read because I will spoil it for myself. And then we're into her summary of ones that were purchased. And on the other side, we have a summary of the ones that she read. So a slight change up to the layout because we have that review panel over here, but still the same sections, just in a slightly different order. It's good to know that when she gets to the unhauls, she doesn't just specify how many, she actually specifies the titles so that she knows that those are the ones that she got rid of. And it's good to see that she had 2 5-star reads in April as well. Now, one of the things that I know that I like to do when it comes to setting up for a new month is that I very consistently like to have a full spread be for the start of month pages. So I'll do something like a cover page and then a projects list or like whatever, thinking more specifically about my everyday journal. But it's kind of nice to see that Monica will start on the right-hand page rather than using a full spread if it means that she's not going to waste any pages in her notebook. So she'll change up her layouts to make sure that every page is actually used. This is possibly in part to safeguard herself from running out of room, which I can completely understand. But for May, we've got the calendar, we've got the to be read list, we've got her additional information, so different readathons she was doing, reading challenges, J&R Book Club, yes. And then into the reviews. I like how consistent she is with using the same color of pen. Even if her color theme for the month isn't anything related to blue, she's using this blue to do all of her reviews. I like that kind of consistency. So flipping on over, getting through her review pages, and then into her statistics or summary. We've got another little tip in here for her first and last bought and her little picture of the things that she purchased. I love her use of tip-ins. I need to use more tip-ins in my journal, honestly. This is such a pretty color palette as well. I really like these colors together. Flipping over, we are into June, and June was kind of more of a plant theme. We do have some more tip-ins here. So we've got some readathon prompts, and then this one was added to add a little bit of additional space to list out those reads. Her calendar, the books that she wanted to read, other reads, another little tip in here. And I completely understand why she put these ones on a tip in, because compared to the rest of the color palette on the page, these guys are super punchy and bright. Notably, Monica partakes in a lot of different reading challenges and readathons. If you have any readathons that you'd like to really get involved in, I would love to hear about them. Let me know in the comments. But flipping over, and we are into her review pages. So I've got 4 here. Another 4. Becoming by Michelle Obama was our book club read for that month. It was not my favorite. I don't really like biographies. After our reviews, we have her summary with her cute little graphs. And then after this, we are into her mid-year check-in. So the first 6 months of the year are done by this point. It's a good opportunity to have a look at some of the statistics, especially if you set goals for yourself in terms of your reading, making sure that you're kind of on track with what you wanted to do with your reading for the year. So for her statistics she's looking at, she has her shortest and longest read, she has her first and last read for the first half, and then she has her favorite book so far and her least favorite book so far. Average rating, average number of pages across the books that she read, average number of hours listened, and the number of rereads that she was doing. We then also have her stats per month, so books read per month, pages by month, and then hours per month, readathons, read-alongs, and book clubs. And then her little graphs, so cute, looking at the format of book, the target audience, or kind of like age brackets, the ratings, the book type, and the genre. So this was her mid-year check-in for the things that she read, and then we have her mid-year check-in for the ones that she purchased. So where was it from? What kind of series statistics did she have? The types purchased, and then a breakdown of the owned versus read. So we have owned total, how many were there? How many does she own that she has read, and how many does she own that have not yet been read? Where things were purchased from, purchases by month, how many things were borrowed from the library, and how many things were unhauled. I quite like that she does this comparison on each of her months, because obviously she buys a lot more books than I do, so it makes sense to have these kind of statistics. And it's also a nice way to hold yourself accountable to actually reading what you're purchasing. So you can be like, hey, I bought a lot of books this month, but a lot of them are still unread. What's the kind of ratio of read to purchased for each of the months? After this one though, we are getting into July. Same kind of format as we've had, so TBR, calendar, other reads, and some reading prompts, and then into our reviews. Den of Vipers was the book club read. It was not necessarily my favorite book, but I'm glad Rachel liked it because it was Rachel's pick and it was her birthday month. So flipping through, we have the read versus purchased statistics, and again we've got the little flip out for the picture here. So a photo of the books bought, and then the first bought and last bought. Flipping that one back in and heading into August. So August is the other month in the year where the Aurelium Academy Challenge happens, where depending on which kind of like path or course or whatever you're taking, you have certain lessons, and those lessons are related to prompts. I am explaining this poorly. It's much better explained in the video that actually explains it, linked in the description box. But we have the TBR, the calendar, which is still a very cool format, I quite like that, other reads, and then this entire side is a tip-in, where Monica has specified which of the different classes she's taking, to what level they need to be taken, and the prompts and books that she's reading for them. And good on her, she got through all of them, so that's awesome, because that's 8 reads. I don't read 8 reads in a month, so that's very impressive. Flipping over into the reviews. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse was our book club read. I'm very tempted in my reading journal to print off covers and stick them in, but my printer sucks. I need a new printer. It looks so nice when she's done it. Little stats with the little flip out again. And I also like the way that for each of the little graphs she has, she specifies how many there were for each of the different categories, and then also does a percentage breakdown in the little graphs. Or if it doesn't quite fit, just like outside with a little label. I think it's nice to have both of those on there. After this one, we're into September, which is more of a kind of like space galaxy type theme. And the little planets and little moons for these numbers are very cute. TBR, calendar, other reads, and then the Bookopoly prompts. All right, so I can already see that we have an excellent sized flip out on the other side. So this one is the Bookopoly game board. This one's hosted by Becca. I think it's Becca in the books, I'm not sure. But the description box will have it so you can check it out there. So this one is set up like a typical Monopoly board, except that all of the different places that you'd normally land on to get properties or stations or whatever have some kind of a reading prompt. In terms of the chance cards versus the community chest, which is now community shelf, those ones have some separate prompts, so 12 different prompts, which I assume you could use like a random number generator or maybe 1 versus 2 die to decide on what each of those were. If you're using 2 die though, the minimum you're going to roll is a 2, so I'm not too sure how it works, but I still think it's cool. I love gamifying things, this is very exciting. And we have the reading reviews. Twilight, yes! I know that she was like having a little nostalgia moment. Yep, for the nostalgia, yeah. I haven't actually read Twilight. I think I've read Twilight and maybe New Moon. I haven't read the other ones, though it was her least favorite for the month, so probably not worth a reread, I don't know. Twilight has a special place in my heart. We have her read statistics and her bought statistics as usual. I I like the planets, they're very cute. And then we're into October for spooky vibes. Yes, jack-o'-lanterns, little bats, so cute. I love how gloriously consistent all of this highlighting looks. That's very pretty. We have another little reading prompt bingo board type thing down here, which is cute. And then we're into the reviews. This one was our read for the J&R Book Club. It's good to note that in this year, our kind of overarching theme for the book club was to do a different genre every month. So I think this one was, graphic novel, I think? I can't remember. Maybe it was humor? It was last year. I have a bad memory. But flipping through, we've got our read statistics and our bought statistics. The little pumpkins and the little bats are so cute. And then we're into November, keeping on with the spooky vibes, going with a witches and potions theme. This guy down the side is again a flip out. So we've got some different prompts, and then she specified which books she read for each of those prompts. I'm not sure which readathon this is. I assume it might be the Clear Your Shit readathon. I haven't heard of it myself. But flipping over and into the reviews. So we've got 4. And then, ooh, look at all these 5 stars. So highly rated for all of these. Cute little pink color palette, cute little Spidey. So the read and bought statistics. And then we're into December, which I guess this readathon was still going. I'm not sure what readathon it is. This is quite cute though. Oh, little flip out. I love her flip outs. They're so cute. Just like her handwriting is so cute. But now as we're in December, you can kind of see Monica does like to keep the same style every month. And it's kind of nice to have that consistency in your journal as well. If you're the type of person who does like to break down their reading by month, this is a great style to use. I like that it has a very consistent format, and then you get straight on into the reviews for the month. I like that she has a set format for each of her reviews as well, so you know what to do going into it. You don't have to make choices every single time. And while some people in their journals, when they do their reviews, they have like very decorative, very artistic pages for them, maybe with like full page art and trying to decorate in the theme of the read, which, don't get me wrong, looks absolutely amazing, but this is a lot more approachable, I feel, while still looking absolutely gorgeous and having a lot of value in it. So we have her read statistics and her bought statistics for the month, and then look at this unhauled list. Oh my gosh, decluttering is like my favorite sport, so this just makes my soul happy, but it's good to see her making super lots of room for all of the books that she was going to get in 2023. So given that's December, we're then into her 2022 breakdown, statistics, all of that. Rather than drawing these graphs in herself, she decided to print them off using her spreadsheet that we mentioned before. Printing these off is a lot easier, in my opinion, than trying to draw them in yourself, but it's also nice that she's used kind of a consistent color palette from what she had earlier in the journal too. So in terms of the statistics that she was specifying, we have the longest read, the shortest read, the first read for the year, and the last read for the year, her favorite and her least favorite. And then we've got the statistics down the bottom, so readathons, read-alongs, book clubs, what her average rating was, pages read total, hours listened to, and number of rereads, the changes and things based on her journal statistics, and then the little graphs, which are so cute. It's also very interesting to see the books read versus pages read. So for instance, March, she had 22 reads with a total of pages read of 3,400, but then August had 3,800, but only had 14 books read. From that, we also have the hours listened to, so which months in particular were quite heavy in terms of the audiobook format. And you can also see her reading breakdown, so audiobooks accounted for 34% of her reads in the year, whereas an actual physical book accounted for a lot less. She has statistics about where she got them from, the audience, the ratings, so a lot of 4-star reads, 3 DNFs, and also statistics around the genres, with a very large chunk going to fantasy, because of course. After this, she has some more statistics about various things, so library reads, series statistics, series tracker, how many series to complete. So she completed 28.2% of the series, and 71.8% are yet to finish. Along with the percentages, she also has the values. She also has statistics about owned versus read, authors, and when they were published. And then this is her space to put all of her 5-star reads from 2022. Those were the statistics related to the things she read, but then we also have to have the statistics related to her purchases. With relation to this, we have her first purchase of the year and her newest purchase of the year, the one that was most expensive versus least expensive, the one that was most hyped versus least hyped, and then some totals of number of books bought, number of books read, and the total cost of those. We have the breakdown per month for the books bought and the cost, and then the comparison of the bought and read versus bought and not yet read. We've got the type breakdown, so ebooks, physical, graphic novel, where they were purchased from, and then the unhauled statistics. Look at that December. So many unhauled. Monica did a great job to fill up her journal pretty much all of the way, so we don't really have very many open pages. And then in the back here, we've got a little tip-in note that she's put in and a couple of sticky notes about some statistics that she was tracking. As said, Monica was super generous to let us have a look at her journal, and if you want to see her 2023 one, make sure to like the video to cast your vote to say, yes please Monica, we want to see more of your reading journal because it's awesome. If you don't already follow Monica over on Instagram, she is Bibliophile by Night. There is a link to her profile in the description box. And if you wanted to see more reading journal content, then we do have a full playlist of our previous videos. That one's in the top left corner, so click or tap on that one and I'll see you over there.